Everybody, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. I want to talk about interrogatories, which are written questionnaires and part of the discovery process. Now, I have a video on YouTube that talks about, the title is the number one tool or weapon in family court or in court period is the deposition. So I'm talking about discovery in general, but specifically interrogatories and a couple other written questionnaires. So the in-person discovery, it's called discovery because you get to discover anything on the other side. When you're accused of a crime, you have an automatic right to discovery. You get a look at the knife, the video surveillance on the night of the murder, and fingerprint samples and blood samples they're going to use against you. And you can have your own expert witnesses to say if it matched up or if it looks like they planted evidence, okay? You get to discover what's going to be used against you or find anything out. If you're suing somebody like the Aaron Brockovich movie, they were suing a corporation dumping chemicals into a river that was in the water supply that was giving everybody cancer. They had a right to get a court order to go onto the facility and look how they operate or hand over all of their manuals and everything and how they operate. So there's a couple of simple examples. So the best way and the number one tool or weapon to use in family court, in my opinion, is to do a deposition in person, because what happens is, most of you might know, a lot of you might not. So I'm going through the basics real quick before I get to interrogatories. It's the simplest and easiest tool and weapon available, and you get the biggest bang for your buck out of it, okay? So you have discovery. So there's an umbrella of discovery. There's depositions, interrogatories, and a couple other questionnaires. That's pretty much it. In a deposition, your attorney would send a subpoena to the other side and say, come to my office on February 20th and sit there until I'm done with you. And then that attorney has a court reporter sitting there recording everything and making a transcript available if people want it. And the court reporter will mark any exhibits. Exhibit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you say on the record, I'm handing you what's been marked as Exhibit 1, do you recognize that? Yeah, that's a picture of me hanging out with my new boyfriend, if you're asking the mother. Okay, who's your new boyfriend? Oh, he's this and that. Does he have a criminal record? Does he have any sex offenses on his record? Oh, no, not that I think so. Not that I know of. And it turns out he does, so the mother's inviting sex offenders into the kids' lives. And in a deposition, you can ask any question you want. It's like trial before the trial without the form, because you're getting all their answers. This is why it's stupid. This is why attorneys are so stupid. They're not going to use a deposition. Like, you're going to go to court. Like, let's say you file for divorce. You're going to go to court in a few weeks to decide the temporary orders for custody or visitation, which can set the tone and seal your fate in your case. Now, it's not over till it's over, but that helps if you have a good showing or good hearing at the first hearing. Your stupid jackass attorney, and that's 99% of them, doesn't even think to ask you want me to do a deposition? When I was with McKinley Irvin and a legal assistant at the largest family law only firm in the entire Pacific Northwest, they would have meetings when a case started or talk about a case and say, let's do a deposition, get a restraining order, and do this, do that. Boom, right off the bat, aggressive. 99% of other attorneys won't do it. Just think about it. You're about to go to a court hearing, they're accusing you of stuff, they're lying, and you want to find out where did they get that idea that you're violent. When's the last time you were violent? Never. Okay, what makes you think they're going to become violent? Oh, their anger is increasing. Okay, is it wrong to be angry? Yeah. So if your daughter's raped and you're angry, that's wrong? No. So there's good and bad anger. Which one is it? What's your barometer? You know, you grill the crap out of somebody, so you poke holes through them. That's what journalists do when they're questioning a president. That's what detectives do when they're investigating a case. That's what lawyers do when somebody's on the stand. If somebody's lying on the stand, you cross-examine them and interrogate them. A deposition is being able to do that before the case even really gets going. But your stupid jackass attorney will say, oh, let's do a deposition for a trial. I've already had 9 months of supervised visitation of 2 hours with my kids, and now you want to interrogate the other side? Now you want to get on the offensive? Now you want to poke holes in their testimony? I just missed out on 9 months of my life with my kids that I'll never get back. And now I got to climb out of a hole to prove that I'm a normal father because you wouldn't do a deposition and poke holes in their story from the beginning. Okay, that being said, a deposition is great because you can ask somebody on the spot, they answer wrong, and then you get to re-question them or get a follow-up right there on the spot, or you catch them in a lie, boom, you keep going down the road. Oh, your boyfriend doesn't have a criminal record. Okay, well, here's an exhibit right here that's marked, that's his criminal record. You're going out with a sex offender. How much longer are you going to go out with a sex offender and allow him around the children? Now, you wouldn't say that up front. You'd say, does the child have anybody else involved? Do you have any paramours, boyfriends, family, aunts, uncles who are around the child? Oh yeah, my boyfriend and this and that, blah, 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 blah. You get them to confess all the stuff they're doing, then you point out they got a boyfriend who's a sex offender. You trap them right there. So, in interrogatories, those are questions on paper that you send to the other side, and they usually have 30, 45 days, depending on what state you live in and what the rules are, to answer. In Washington, it's 30 days. So I'll send a questionnaire that has, like I have a questionnaire that has 170 questions. The mother's attorney sent it to me. I retyped that stuff and got it back to them 2 days later. So guess what? I just did some free work. It cost me time. But it's going to cost her $400, $500, $600 to consult with her attorney, go over the interrogatories, and she's got to go dig, exert blood, sweat, and tears, digging up answers, going to get paperwork to hand over to me, and all this other stuff, because I'm asking her questions like, who's there? Name everybody that babysat the child. Provide receipts or contracts with any daycare for the past 6 months. Provide receipts with any other babysitters you paid. And then she's got to go dig that stuff up. Then she's got to consult with her attorney and go over that. That's hundreds of dollars for something I did free. I have a packet of 7 different samples of questionnaires that I sell for $40 on my store. That's super cheap for something that would cost. An attorney automatically has a standard form of those. They might go through and have their paralegal tweak it. So it might cost you a couple $100 for the paralegal to send it off. If they have a preset. If they got to think of different questions and you got to talk to the attorney about what questions to ask, it's going to be $300, $400, $500 for something you can do for free. That's if you can find a template online. But I got a packet for $40 that has one questionnaire with 170 questions. That was sent to me by an attorney with 17 years experience. So he had experience in that. It was a thorough questionnaire. So I turned around, rewrote it, and sent it back to them and just switched the names. Like, this person, I'm asking you this, I have another set of another set of interrogatories. It's where we get in, it's related to the word interrogation because you're interrogating the person on paper. Interrogatories, okay? You're asking general questions about anything you want. Usually it's under your state civil rules 26 through 37, or you can Google Colorado rules of discovery, Illinois rules of discovery. Most of the time it'll be whatever civil rule procedure 26 through 37. That's the federal rule. Most states adopt the federal rules. And it tells you can ask any question relevant as long as it's not harassing, burdensome, and all this other stuff. Then it might say limitations. Then it might say what to do when somebody does not answer your interrogatories in the 30-day deadline. Then it says what you could do if they still don't answer. Then it talks about depositions and requests for admission and requests for production. So, interrogatories go like this. Again, I have a store full of documents that are mostly average $40. Some of them would cost you anywhere from $400 to literally about $2,500 for an attorney to write that stuff up. And they're not going to write stuff up the way that I write it up, or the way that I wrote it, and the way that it's worked for several other people. This is stuff that I did once, and then I added more stuff to it, and other people have used it, like my defense against restraining orders packet. I've had countless testimonials of people saying, they used that and worked off that template, and the domestic violence protection order got dismissed, or the anti-harassment restraining order got dismissed. This is stuff that's golden and worth thousands more, and I'm trying to make it affordable to people, but not too many people want to get it. Not too many people pay attention, because to be honest with you, my gender just doesn't want to work that hard when it comes to their kids. I just talked to a guy who's been dealing with single father life for a while. He said guys just don't want to do anything on this stuff. They want somebody else to do it, somebody wave a magic wand, all this other stuff. But for the few guys out there who want to do this stuff, I want to make stuff available to you. And for the women, because the women are more responsive to the men. And the women are more willing to get on the offensive and listen to me. But, you know, if you don't want the stuff, that's fine. I'm just astonished, because I would have killed for this stuff. I didn't know what interrogatories were until they served on me. And I spent 2 days rewriting the interrogatories and flipping them around and sending them back. Why wouldn't somebody want to spend two $20 bills on something that's going to cost the other side maybe $1,000 to answer? So, I had somebody who's changing lanes right with me. So, I mean, if the deposition, go watch the video on YouTube. Deposition is the number one tool. If the deposition is the number one tool available, and you can't afford to pay an attorney to do a deposition, or you don't want to do it yourself, which is a little bit of a pain in the butt, why wouldn't you want to spend two $20 bills to at least do a questionnaire? I had a guy who literally, the mother was saying, you're never going to see your kid. I'm going to make sure you don't see your kid. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get custody. You're going to pay me child support. The guy sent a packet of interrogatories with some other paperwork, and the mother was crying and begging and pleading. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you getting on the offensive? Why are you attacking me? Let's work this out. And they settled on a 50-50 parenting plan. Simply because he got on the offensive and sent some interrogatories. That's the number one problem in most cases. Guys sit back, they don't interrogate the guardian ad litem or do a deposition on them. They won't put a guardian ad litem on the stand. They won't attack a guardian ad litem report with a counter report pointing out the deficiencies in the guardian ad litem report. They won't get on the offensive and call the mother mentally ill. They won't call her a child abuser. And they won't do discovery, which is the most, you know, it takes the least amount of energy to do discovery and it's the biggest bang for your buck. Like I said, if you bought my packet with 6 or 7 different types of questionnaires, you send it over to them, it's going to take $500 to $1,000 worth of work for them to answer, okay? And you're going to get some answers to questions beyond their prima facie or on the face or on the surface allegations. They allege that you did this and that. You ask, what about this? What about that? Where do you get that from? Why do you want the kids to not have a father? Have you ever seen the studies on absent fathers? Why did you care about that? You get to ask questions. You know, everybody goes to court hearings. They throw out allegations, you throw yours, and nobody digs any deeper. That's how you get to the truth. You dig deeper. So, okay, so interrogatories are general questions like questions I asked. Name everybody who's provided daycare or babysitting. Requests for production would be provide receipts, contracts with daycares, producing documents, provide any diaries that you have, provide 2 years of tax returns, 2 years of financial statements and all your investments and stuff. Requests for admissions might be something like, you already know the answer to it. Admit that Joe Schmo babysat the child. Admit Joe Schmo is a registered sex offender. Admit that you knew he's a sex offender before you had him babysit the child. If she says no to all that and that they're a sex offender, then she doesn't vet or investigate. So she looks like a bad parent. If she says, no, I didn't know he's a sex offender, then she didn't she didn't investigate. If she says yeah, then she's admitting she lets sex offenders babysit the kids. So request for admissions is, the answer is only admit or deny. They got 30 days to answer. You can ask any question you want that's relevant. Why would you not do that? Why would you not do that and get on the offensive? It's the easiest, cheapest way to do it. You might be able to find free templates out there, but you're not going to find something with as many options and as thorough of questionnaires that I got for $40. So that's on my store. Go to the link in my bio and click on it, and you'll find my store if you're interested. It's worked for countless people. I don't know why anybody wouldn't do it.